Hey folks, and welcome. You'll have to apologize the hair. I know it looks like I've, been chewing on spark plugs, or someone with a lot of statics decided that they wanted to play with my hair. But, by the by, let's kind of get into the video and discuss things. This video is going to be a really short one. We're going to discuss a couple of key elements once everyone's hit 70, what you should be doing between now and Season 1, and explain kind of where the class guides are going to be in terms of playtesting, what stage we're at, and kind of just generally what to expect in the next 2 weeks before Season 1 hits. So, as some of you will know, yesterday and today have been my 2 days off, so I've tried cramming absolutely everything into these 2 days before I go back to work, and I go back up basically onto a maintenance cycle during the week. So let's get into get into the main screen. I was about to say let's get into phase 1. Phase 1 ain't here yet. So swapping to the main screen, we are on my Warlock. We've maxed out Dragon Riding, and this is kind of one of those things where you can decide to either do it as you hit 70, as you're leveling, or somewhere in the middle. It is going to be a priority to get. Having done it at 70, I'd actually probably recommend trying to do it as you level per zone, because you're going to be in the general vicinity of a lot of them anyway as you're leveling. And because, like the normal talent trees, you can empower this as you go through when you pick up the sigils, because there's 12 in each zone, it will help from a quality of life perspective. Doing it once you hit 70 is fine. As I say, that's how I did it, and it wasn't too bad. There were a few points where it was like the dragon riding just didn't quite get you over the line in terms of distance, or you were waiting a couple of seconds for vigor to recharge to bunny hop places, because I noticed that that's one really big benefit of dragon riding, in that, you just kind of like a bunny hop and glide. And that kind of one use is really quite nice. So we were in that little hut there. We're going to bunny hop again, and we're actually going to end up on top of the hut this time. So you could get like a little bit of height with some decent aiming. Now, obviously, because I have maxed out my vigor, it recovers quite quickly, and that kind of helps improve world navigation. So that's definitely one of your kind of go-tos. But once you hit 70, aside from doing your Mythic Zero World tour for gear, there's not really a lot left else to do. Dragonflight's really kind of setting the boundaries in terms of player agency and what you want to do. If you want to get ready for raid, then great. Like, go down the gearing path, do professions. If you want to play professions in the auction house, you can do that. You can actually level characters from like 68 to 70 doing whatever you want. Because the main campaign, if you just follow the main campaign quest or the main story quest, the MSQ, for those Final Fantasy among us, it will drop you off around level 68, depending on how many bonus objectives you do and how many side quests you play around with. Conservative side quest usage will get you to 68, which means that the final 2 quests you can do however you like. Either go back questing, you get XP for the first time you craft something in professions, so you can literally get from 68 to 270 just by crafting, which is how I mostly did it. I got the entirety of level 69 through crafting, tailoring, and alchemy, which is huge given the fact that it was like 20 minutes. It was rather expensive, but still, I kind of budgeted for that. And going back to the Shadowlands prep stuff that we did. Now, if gearing is your thing, and I'm sure some of you have already seen and done the rounds, there is a place called the Cobalt Assembly. Now, again, this is something that you can do at 68, going 270. Basically, this zone here is filled with elites. Let's just go do a flyby carry. And they drop these orbs of power. Wild Arcana, they're called. And they're anima powers. So you can have Arcane Compaction here, grow smaller, increasing damage done, damage taken, and movement speed by 15% for 5 minutes. Now, you can collect these, and you basically, let's just summon our boy to tank for us for a moment, and we will demonstrate this whole situation. So, a lot of the time, you're going to be quoted as this is like an hour-long thing, probably, I'd say more conservatively, you're looking at maybe 2 to 4 hours, because a lot of it is RNG related. This is very much a RNG rep grind, and in doing so, we encounter a little bit of a bug. Now, the bug is simply that you actually get more rep if you do it solo, because the way this rep works is, unlike previous kill for rep quests or reputations, you don't get rep per mob you defeat. Essentially, what happens is you have a chance to loot an item, and that item will jump your power up by a fair amount. Now, getting too high here, which is 4 out of 5, is the rep bracket required for a ring. Now, the ring itself, the DPS one, called the Assembler's Scully, or the Assembly Scholar's Loop, is a normal raid ready item at 389. Now, let's actually go back to the vendors, because I'm doing a flipping bad here. Here we go. Right, so stars or stairs, Myers and stars. Nah. Anyway, whichever you want it. You've got customization here, who is responsible for your dragon riding customization based on swapping your dragon isle supplies. But what we're interested in is the QM, and there's the tank, healing, and DPS rings here that you require high reputation for. Now, again, depending on what your goals are, if you want to gear, be ready for raid, and smash this out, you can do this from 68, and it will work, because you need to be 68 to hit the anima powers. Now, my friend Ark leveled his Demon Hunter this way, and it was quite quick. It was about 2.5, 3 hours. Based on him then going and doing other stuff once he'd hit the rep required, because he stopped after getting his rep bracket. You could, by all accounts, actually max this out and just get 5 out of 5, which would then open up, you know, your various cosmetics for other things. But this is just your maximum stuff, and there's also your couple of recipes, primarily alchemy, 2 for tailoring, 1 for leatherworking, and 1 for inscription. But that's, again, kind of professions, and if you want to go down that route. These other renowns or reputations, they've kind of changed the things here, but essentially you don't need to worry about it. They're not really tied to player power. There are a couple of pieces of gear that you can buy at normal raid ready, but realistically, if you're after the gear, Season 1, when it hits, Mythic Plus is uncapped, all the raids come out simultaneously. The gear isn't going to last you long. Not even remotely. Like, I fully expect everyone to outgear what the Renown can drop by the end of the first week. Unless, of course, you're a really casual player and you're just not interested in it. At which point, doing the renown and the reputations are going to attract you for other reasons, whether it be because you want profession recipes so you can make gold, or you're after your customization options for your dragon mount, or whatever it is. The game will pull you in a direction based on what you actually want, which is a really nice place to be. So as a result, there's not really too much for me to throw out and be like, oh, you need to go do this. So I apologise if the video was kind of a little bit clickbaity. But in terms of what to expect in the coming weeks, and by coming weeks I mean between now and the 14th of December, when the season goes live, from me it will be the class guides. or the spec guides, sorry, I say class guides as though I'm going to be leveling, you know, my paladin, and as much as I'd love to, realistically I need to make sure that I am prepared for Vault of the Incarnates, because I'm also due my second trial talk with my officers ahead of the raid coming out, which is a little bit nerve-wracking, I'll be honest. It's been a long trial, but we'll see how it goes. And in terms of the specs, there are a few things that kind of need play testing a little bit longer. I was going to try and get at least one of them out today, but I've had 48 hours to try and do a week's worth of stuff. Not that it's an excuse, don't get me wrong, it's just I bit off more than I could chew, basically. Especially when I started playing around and I came across this particular build while I was playing. Because doing dungeons and playing with random people and stuff like that, and not being on comms or not having the chance to be on comms, meant that Dark Glare Grim Reach, which, you know, is a really nice, strong AoE pack, kind of breaker, for want of a better term, because you will just break packs. There weren't really opportunities to use it. Like, tanks were inconsistent, they pull ahead, and as a warlock, because we no longer have soul shit, we no longer have a quick, pain-free way of maneuvering ourselves. We do have, you know, soul burn into gateway and a gateway control shard or the macro if you want to really ping around the place, but our movement speed comes from burning rush, which reduces our health. And if healers aren't necessarily 100% comfortable with a new dungeon or things like that, burning rush is actually a really dangerous thing to do, unless you're confident that you can live. And through playtesting and things, I realised that this particular build, having Haunt, Wrath of Consumption, Soul Rot, Dark Harvest, and Creeping Death, actually worked really, really well. I was pulling out quite a nice, high average amount of DPS, and I, again, much like Destruction, really didn't care what the tank was doing. It was like, right, okay, I've got Viletane every 30 seconds, I've got Haunt out, Soul Rot with Unstable Affliction, you're pretty much looking at it being roughly a 30 to 35-ish second cooldown, as long as you maintain high uptime on Unstable Affliction. And we just kind of ended up in this situation where it was like, I really don't care what anyone's doing. I'm just going to play my game, I'm going to, you know, learn the fight, talk things through, and as a result I've actually recorded a few of the Mythic Zeros that we did. So if you guys are interested in seeing them and I can kind of talk through them early, then I will do. Because as you guys know, I originally discussed that this season, or Season 1, what I'll actually do is, the first keys I do, I will actually record them, and we will go through it and be like, right, okay, this does this, this does this, this is a dangerous point in the key, this is what wipe does, as I learn, so I can teach you guys. And if you guys want to see the Mythic Zeros for something like Brackentide Hollow, down here, which is a very disease and plague heavy dungeon. It's quite good, but it's not actually in the Season 1 rotation. If you want to see how dungeons like that are done, or you want to see how I dealt with them for the first time round with a couple of friends, by all means do comment below. But it's through this kind of playtesting that I realised that the specs kind of need a little bit of a pushback so that I can properly do them justice and try and cover everything so that they actually last you guys and do you well and put you in a good stead for Season 1, whether it be, you know, you just want to farm Mythic Plus, you just want to play with friends, or you just want a really degenerate build that's going to make people go, what? Either which way, I really want to get these out and do them well for you, because I know this is something that you guys specifically have subscribed to me for. So please do just hang fire and forgive me for the slight delay on that part. Now, I hope you're all enjoying Dragonflight. I'll end the video here before we get too long, and I will see you all in the next video. So take care, have a good one, and if you've liked the content previously, or you've liked this video and liked my voice being a complete and utter pain in the ass, hit that subscribe, and I'll see you all later. Have a good one.